Good afternoon. Welcome to Africa Today. I am Wisdom Onyisi. First, the headlines. Nigeria attracts $2 billion investment in renewable energy sector, says Tinubu. Ghana's NDC predicts 32% vote share in Ashanti region, calls for NPP's 85% target unrealistic. Kenya's opposition group denies coalition talks with the government. And on sport, Liverpool appoints new coach to assist Sluts. Now the news in details. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has disclosed that Nigeria attracted over $2 billion investment in the renewable energy sector, making it a fast-growing sector in the economy. Tinubu has instructed the Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals Development to only issue mining licenses if they are tied to local value addition. This is to ensure that young Nigerians are actively engaged in economic activities, acquiring skills and contributing to the overall development of the economy. The president gave the directive on Wednesday during the opening section of the African Natural Resources and Energy Investment Summit 2024 held at the State House Conference Center, Abuja. Represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, Tinubu reiterated the commitment of his administration to continue to attract more private sector involvement in the renewable energy space. Away from that, Nigerian's President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday approved the appointment of D.D. Waxing Jack as head of the Civil Service of the Federation with effect from August 14, 2024. Waxing Jack's appointment was announced in a statement by the presidency as new head of service of the Federation. Waxing Jack was appointed as Federal Permanent Secretary in 2017 and has served in several ministries. President Tinubu, while thanking the outgoing head of service for her stewardship, tasked the incoming head of service to discharge her duties with innovative flair, integrity, and stringent adherence to the extant rules and regulations of the civil service of the Federation. The Independent National Electoral Commission on Wednesday warned election observer groups that their accreditation for the Edo and Ondo governorship posts could be revoked anytime if found violating its code of conduct. The classification of the accredited groups showed that 28 are gender-based, 3 represent persons with disability, 8 are faith-based, 10 international, and over 100 others working in areas relevant to the function of the Commission. Speaking at a training section for election observers, in Abuja, the National Commissioner and Chairman of the Election and Party Monitoring Committee, Sam Olumeku, said for the groups to retain their accreditation, they must adhere to the rules. Away from that, Senate President Godswill Akpabio has said the establishment of the Federal University of Applied Sciences, Manchok, Kaduna State, the Federal University Benin, Kebbi State, and Federal University of Technology, Ilaro, Ogun State, will boost education in the country. Akpabio said establishing tertiary institutions in Nigeria is very important, pleading that the National Assembly will prioritize it. He stated this during the public hearing organized by the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education and Tech Fund. Represented by Benga Daniel, Akpabio said it is important to establish more tertiary institutions for the country to move forward. Now, when we return, news from other parts of West Africa. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now news from other parts of West Africa. Asawase, Member of Parliament and former Minority Chief Whip, says the party will secure about 32% of the Ashanti region's vote in the December election and labeled the new Patriotic Party's aim for 85% as unattainable and overly ambitious. Mohamed Mubarak Muntata noted that the NDC's worst performance has always been around 20% of the vote in the Ashanti region since 1992, making it an increase to 32% plausible. This observation comes after the MPP announced its running mate in Kumasi, where Matthew Okpoku Premier appeared, told voters to deliver 85% of the vote to the party. In an interview after the meeting with the Tafo Pankorono, NDC parliamentary candidate Zongo chiefs and religious leaders, the Asawase Prime Minister questioned the feasibility of the MPP's strategy to achieve 85%, given to the NDC's consistent historical performance in the region. We move to other parts of Africa after this news. Welcome back. Now news from other parts of Africa. Rwanda's ruling coalition is leading with the highest number of seats in the legislative election, with President Kagame's Rwandan Patriotic Front remaining largely dominant with more than 62% of the vote. Other historic parties, notably the Liberal Party and Social Democratic Party, received nearly 11% and 9% of the vote, respectively. Parties allied with the ROPF, some of whose leaders are ministers, supported President Paul Kagame during the presidential campaign and followed him in his campaign meetings. The two groups outside the coalition and its allies, PS Mbarakuturi and the Democratic Green Party, finished with a little over 5% of the vote, thus reaching the minimum threshold to obtain seat in parliament. Following this proportional representation election, the composition of the assembly is expected to change little compared to the one elected in 2018. Kenya's opposition coalition, led by its veteran leader Raila Odinga, has ruled out any possibility of a coalition with the government following the recent attitudes protest that had led to at least 40 deaths. This follows recent meeting between the government of President William Ruto's coalition, OKA, and Odigo's Azimio La Umoja coalition that began last year. Odinga, on the other hand, has been on record calling for a dialogue among different stakeholders, including the protesting youth who have branded themselves as Gen Z. The youth later dismissed Odinga and President Ruto over talks, saying they were not catering to their interest, but rather on behalf of the ruling class. The group is now calling on President Ruto to resign. Meanwhile, Kenya's police have banned further protests, especially in the Nairobi Central Businesses District, claiming that the groups lack organization since they lack a working structure and a leader. Giorgia Meloni, the Italian Prime Minister, traveled to Libya on Wednesday to participate in a migration forum hosted by Libyan Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Dbeibah. Libya has become a key transit point for migrants escaping conflict and poverty in Africa and the Middle East en route to Europe. Migrants who reach the coast pay to board overcrowded and poorly equipped ships before embarking on dangerous sea crossing. Meloni said in order to promote legal migration, his government has increased the number of quotas for the past 3 years, especially for countries that assist in fighting against human traffickers. The United Nations report an increase in migrants and refugees in Africa moving northward towards the Mediterranean and Europe, facing perilous routes through the Sahara, where criminal groups subject them to various abuses. Up next is business. Stay with us. Welcome back now to business news. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has forwarded to the Senate for consideration and approval the injection of 6.2 trillion naira into the 27.5 trillion naira 2024 budget. The president, in a request through a letter read on the floor of the Senate by its President Godswill Akpabio during plenary on Wednesday, specifically sought for withdrawal of 3.2 trillion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for capital expenditure. The president, in the second leg of the request, sought for withdrawal of another 3 trillion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for additional recurrent expenditure for the year ending on December 31st, 2024. According to the letter, Tinubu is also seeking an act to amend the Finance Act of 2023 to impose and charge windfall tax on banks and to provide the administration of tax and matters related. Nigeria and other African nations are losing $50 billion a year to illegal financial outflows. According to Nigerian Shippers Council, the Executive Secretary, Chief Executive Officer of the NSC, Pius Akuta, stated this in Lagos recently during a debate competition organized by some members of the National Youth Service Corps in collaboration with industrial trainees of the council. The event was themed Effective Whistleblowers Protection Mechanism, a critical tool in the fight against corruption. Akuta, represented by the Director of Human Resources at the NSC, Ada Okam, explained that illicit financial outflows negatively impact the quality of life in Africa. He reiterated that every effort at lifting Africans out of poverty and the provision of basic services to Africans had been retarded. Away from that, we have that the International Monetary Fund Executive Board has approved the disbursement of approximately $43 million to the Congolese government under the extended credit facility initiated in 2022. This approval comes after 4 reviews of the 3-year program, highlighting the economic effectiveness of the structural reforms implemented. According to Afonso Ndogo, an economic analyst, the International Monetary Fund, contrary to popular belief, does not give money to carry out development. The IMF helps improve the quality of financial credibility. However, this positive outlook is not universally shared. Several civil society members and political actors express concern about governance issues. They argue that the ongoing crisis and current cash flow tensions in Congo highlight significant shortcomings. Still to come is sport. Please stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Polka.
Welcome back now to Sport News. Chelsea on Wednesday announced the signing of defender Lucy Bronze. In a statement on their website, the Blues said Bronze has joined the club's women team from FC Barcelona. Bronze signed a 2-year contract with Chelsea. Meanwhile, in another development, Manchester United have rejected a bid from Fulham for their midfielder Scott McTominay. The Cartagers offered €18 million for the Scotland international, but Man United are understood to want €30 million for McTominay, who has been linked with a move away from the Old Trafford. Away from that, Liverpool on Wednesday appointed John Hertingal as assistant coach of the men's first team. Hertingal becomes the latest addition to head coach Arne Slot's staff ahead of the start of 2024-2025. Liverpool disclosed this in a statement on their website. Hertingal made his name as a centre-back during his playing days. The 40-year-old won 87 caps for the Netherlands and represented Ajax, Atlético Madrid, Everton, Fulham, Hertha BSC before he retired in 2016. Hertingal worked as first-team assistant coach at West Ham United last season. Away from that, we'll also have you know that UEFA have opted to stick with referee Felix Zwael for the Euro 2024 semi-final between England and the Netherlands. Zwael's appointment raised a lot of eyebrows because of his history. The 43-year-old served as 6 months ban for accepting €253.82 bribe from fellow referees Robert Hosier in 2005 scandals. The UEFA bosses conducted a review and decided to go on with Zwael's for Wednesday's semi-finals. The England versus Netherlands game kicks off 8 p.m. in Dortmund. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. We move to the rest of the news after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back now, the rest of the news. The Nigerian Medical Association on Wednesday lamented the worsening doctor-patient ratio in the country fueled by the continued exodus of doctors abroad, a trend now commonly known as JAPA. Speaking at an interactive section with the media in Abuja on Wednesday, the NMA President Bala Audu pointed out that Nigerians' doctor-patient ratio had dwindled to about 1,000%, less than what the World Health Organization recommended. Many Nigerian healthcare workers leave the country for greener pastures, leaving their colleagues to contend with additional workload and extended call hours. The push factors, according to them, are inadequate equipment, worsening insecurity, poor working conditions, and poor salary structure. Data from the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria showed that about 1,056 consultants left the country to seek greener pastures between 2019 and 2023. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors also revealed that over 900 of its members left for Europe between January and September 2023. And that's Africa Today. But before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that Nigeria attracts $2 billion investment in renewable energy sector, says Tinubu. We also told you that Ghana's NDC predicts 32% vote share in Ashanti region, calls NPP's 85% target unrealistic. We also brought to you that Kenya's opposition group denies coalition talks with the government. And on spot, we brought to you that Liverpool appoints new coach to assist Sluts. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hillstv Abuja, Instagram at Hillstv Abuja, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hillstv. I am Wisdom Onisi. Thank you for watching.